Reacher's most violent kill isn't committed by its muscle-bound hero. True to its literary source material, Prime Video's adaptation of Lee Child's best-selling Jack Reacher novels does not pull its punches with its depiction of unflinching, graphic violence. Virtually every episode of Reacher Season 1 contains at least one hard-hitting fight sequence, with Reacher, played by Titans actor Alan Ritchson, reminding audiences why he's such a formidable figure as he investigates his brother's murder in the small Georgia town of Margrave. However, the bloodiest kill in Season 1 isn't done by its no-nonsense protagonist, but by the bookish chief police detective Oscar Finley when he joins in on the action. The violent lengths Reacher goes to are evident right from its opening, and only escalate as the series continues. Imprisoned under suspicion that he murdered his older brother Joe, Reacher is assaulted in a bathroom by a group of racist inmates and single-handedly dispatches all of his attackers. This early action scene is punctuated by Reacher gouging the eyes of one of the convicts with his bare hands, quickly establishing that the stoic hero is willing to achieve a decisive victory by any gory means necessary. It's a character trait that also sees Reacher shooting enemies in the back and engaging in other less than noble tactics to defeat his foes. Finley tops Reacher's gruesome tactics in the season finale after learning that his old friend and colleague Picard is secretly working for a counterfeiting ring operating out of Margrave. Picard captures Reacher only for the muscle-bound protagonist to escape, shooting Picard in the shoulder and leaving him for dead. Picard resurfaces in Reacher Season 1's climactic battle, having survived his gunshot wound to confront Finley. While the wounded Picard initially has the advantage, Finley pushes two of his fingers into Picard's bullet wound and forces him under a hydraulic presser where he crushes his traitorous friend, spilling blood and viscera everywhere. This bloody end to Picard feels like something straight from a horror movie, and is a change from Picard's death in the novel Killing Floor, which serves as the primary source material for Reacher Season 1. In the novel, Picard is shot multiple times in the torso, surviving due to his size and endurance, before he ultimately has his head blown off by Reacher himself. Comparatively, Finley being the one to graphically kill Picard in the television adaptation not only demonstrates that he isn't afraid of getting his hands dirty to dispense lethal justice, but pays back Picard for betraying him in the first place. Reacher certainly comes out of the first season with a higher body count and a well-earned reputation as the story's biggest hero, biggest in every sense of the word, but Finley proves that he's more than a desk jockey dressed from head to toe in tweed. The entire counterfeiting ring is brutally wiped out, and Reacher's Season 1 finale makes sure there's no doubt that all of its ringleaders are dead. And though Reacher may have left Margrave behind, Finley is more than suited to defend the Georgia town by showing that he can similarly go to any lengths to deliver justice. In Reacher, the 2022 Amazon Prime series based on Lee Child's Jack Reacher novels, violence is a key element of the narrative. The show's central character, Jack Reacher, a former military policeman, is portrayed as a massive, muscle-bound enforcer of justice. His physical prowess and brutal efficiency in combat make him a formidable force, capable of dismantling enemies with bone-crushing blows. However, as the title of this piece suggests, the most violent kill in the show isn't committed by its towering hero. Instead, this dubious honor goes to a supporting character who, in a single shocking moment, demonstrates the raw and savage brutality lurking beneath the surface of the story's moral landscape. To understand this moment of sheer brutality, it's important to first understand the character of Reacher himself. He's a man shaped by military discipline, strategy, and the code of a lone wolf who roams from town to town looking for justice. Reacher doesn't kill without purpose. Every fight he enters, every blow he lands, is calculated an act of survival or necessity. His violence, though severe, carries with it a sense of righteousness. He kills when he must, and it's always in pursuit of a greater good. Reacher's character walks the line between hero and anti-hero, and it's this complexity that makes him both compelling and dangerous. The violence in Reacher is a defining aspect of the show's aesthetic. From the very first episode, it's clear that this isn't a series that will shy away from showcasing brutal, close-quarters combat. Reacher's strength is emphasized in every fight sequence. His punches land with a force that sends his enemies flying, his movements are efficient, and his size makes him nearly unstoppable. As a former military investigator, he's also methodical, ensuring his actions are grounded in reason and logic. However, despite Reacher's imposing figure and the multitude of deaths that occur at his hands, the most violent kill in the show doesn't involve him. That distinction belongs to Rosco Conklin, a local police officer in the small town of Margrave, Georgia, where the first season of the show is set. Rosco is introduced as an intelligent and determined officer who is willing to stand up for what's right, even in the face of danger. Her character is portrayed with nuance. She's tough, but she doesn't rely on brute strength the way Reacher does. While she isn't physically intimidating, her resolve and moral compass make her a significant ally to Reacher as he investigates a deadly conspiracy. It's within this conspiracy that Rosco finds herself in a situation that leads to the show's most violent kill. By the midpoint of the season, the stakes have risen, and Rosco, like Reacher, has found herself in the crosshairs of a powerful group of criminals. In a particularly intense sequence, she's captured by one of the villains, who underestimates her ability to fight back. At this moment, it's clear that Rosco has no choice but to defend herself with lethal force. The kill itself is brutal in its suddenness and visceral in its execution. Rosco, having been restrained, manages to free herself, and in a desperate act of survival, strikes her captor with a ferocity that is shocking given her previous restraint. Unlike Reacher's methodical and calculated blows, Rosco's kill is born out of sheer panic and necessity. She doesn't just kill her assailant, she obliterates him, using whatever she can find in the environment around her. The camera lingers on the aftermath, showing the sheer carnage of the act. This isn't a clean or efficient death like those dealt by Reacher's hands. Instead, it's messy, raw, and incredibly violent. What makes this kill stand out as the most violent in the series isn't just the gore or the suddenness of the act, but the emotional weight behind it. Rosco, unlike Reacher, isn't accustomed to taking lives. For her, this moment isn't just about survival, it's about crossing a line she never expected to cross. The violence of the scene isn't just physical, it's psychological. The aftermath leaves her shaken in a way that Reacher never would be after one of his kills. The emotional toll of taking a life, especially in such a brutal fashion, is something that Rosco must grapple with, and it adds a layer of depth to her character that sets her apart from Reacher. In contrast, Reacher's kills, while undoubtedly violent, lack this emotional weight. He's a man who has seen combat and death throughout his life. For him, killing is often just part of the job, and he moves on from each act with little reflection. Rosco's kill, however, lingers both for the character and the audience. It's a reminder that violence, even in a world as brutal as Reacher's, has consequences, and not everyone can walk away unscathed. Ultimately, the most violent kill in Reacher isn't memorable because of its gore or shock value alone. It's the combination of raw brutality and emotional impact that makes it stand out. Rosco Conklin's moment of desperation and survival serves as a powerful counterpoint to Reacher's controlled, almost clinical violence, showing that in this world anyone is capable of crossing that line when pushed to the brink. Ultimately, the most violent kill in Reacher isn't memorable because of its gore or shock value alone. It's the combination of raw brutality and emotional impact that makes it stand out. Rosco Conklin's moment of desperation and survival serves as a powerful counterpoint to Reacher's controlled,